You're listening to Up on Medicine with Jeff Levy, Bonnie Jane Bentley, and Dr. Ronald Belsick, right here on LA Talk Radio.
And here we are. The show is Up on Medicine. We're really glad to be here with you for another episode. I'm Jeff Levy, the digital doctor. I actually lecture to doctors about technology and medicine, and they pay me to do it.
Yay!
How cool is that? And I'm here with three of the nicest people on the planet. My close and dear friend,
Bonnie Jane Bentley.
yeah, and you inspire me. Bonnie, a little bit of background about you.
Oh, well, I'm a caregiver at home for my dad, who's
Yep.
91, and also for my fiance, who passed away. And also, I am a clinical hypnotherapist, a biofeedback therapist, neurotherapist, and
A
few
corporate
other things,
executive.
and a corporate executive.
And one sharp cookie.
Whoa.
And our resident partner doctor is Ronald J.
Hello, Belzic.
That's funny you don't look Jewish.
I think you've adopted me.
I think so. Tell us about you, Doc.
I'm a reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. I specialize in amputation prevention, and I'm at Sherman Oaks Hospital in Sherman Oaks, California.
Which is?
Part of the Prime
Prime
Healthcare
family.
family.
Big
All right,
family.
America. Now you know who we are. And sitting at the controls, Tyler M. Jackson. Hello, Tyler.
Hello.
That's a lovely new leather coat you're wearing.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm
sure.
a special person.
Yeah, I would say. So look, this show is not like anything you've ever heard. We give you up-to-date medical news, health news, the newest technology, procedures, the research, all of that. We'll throw it at you. But you know what? We vet it first. We check it. We talk about it. We really do talk about it. If you have email questions, you can email us at uponmedicine@yahoo.com, or you can actually call and leave a message. It's a toll-free. It's 844-339-5333.
Tell me about DSL.
Oh, yeah,
That's
we'll
what
get
you're
there.
gonna
But a little
say.
later in the program, we're going to be talking to a doctor who is the chief medical officer for a company that makes a rather incredible product that Dr. Belsick's actually used on my foot. Epifix. I don't know about the
And
Epi,
it fixed
but
your
the fix
foot.
is...
It
yeah.
fixed your foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff's foot was really bad.
It was not good.
Not good.
It was an unhappy, angry foot.
It looked like something from a horror movie.
How did you know? Oh, we're going to have a great show. Bring the wine. We want to talk briefly about DSL Extreme. Bonnie, you were paying, get this, Doc, $120 a month. It was so slow, a turtle could get to the internet faster.
I was not happy, but
you had a landline.
I had a
Yeah.
landline, and I wanted a landline, and I didn't know that internet could be as fast as DSL Extreme.
It's about it's over 3 times quicker.
Oh yeah,
And you still have a landline.
I still have
and
a
it's
landline.
$34.95 a month. Are you kidding me?
It's incredible.
saving a lot of money
Saving me
and-
$1,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
big deal. It's a big deal.
DSLextreme.com or 866, the number 2, get net. Tell them we sent you.
Yeah,
I hope they don't say Jeff who. They're not going to
They
do
will.
that. No. Okay. Why don't we get to work?
okay.
We start within the news.
We will. Okay, there's some dangerous minivans
Wait a minute.
out.
Stop. How come I'm the only one with paper notes? What's going on here?
Oh, because we got into the next century or something.
Apparently, that's cold. That's really. Wait till you need them printed up next time.
Okay. Well, he can use his mini pad because he's young and he has good eyes.
Wait, is it a
and
stay-free
glasses.
mini pad? What are you talking
No,
about?
no.
It's an iPad mini.
Whatever it is. But
It's your birthday, Doc. We're okay.
no, I use mini pads. Right. Okay. So, but I'm using my computer because I can blow it up to 150% and not have to look at it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that's a great
So
idea.
now we got to get one for you.
We have one. The HP. I still have it.
Okay.
I've used that.
Okay.
Except the back of yours is dark colored. The HP is
Well, we
kind
can
of a
switch
silver.
them. You can use this.
All right. Let's get into the news.
Okay, dangerous minivans.
Oh.
Well, first of all, wait a minute. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dr. Belzick. Happy birthday to you.
Our big cheese.
And many more.
Your birthday?
I do love cheese.
Happy birthday.
Doc, what did you do with the money? that your mother gave you for singing lessons?
He spent it on cheese.
Yeah, baby.
He wasn't going to sing happy
you go.
birthday to himself.
No. Okay, we got to
Okay.
get to work. We got to
Okay, dangerous minivans.
Listen to
The-
this.
The Insurance Institute of Public Safety tests show that the three worst minivans for front corner crashes are the Nissan Quest, the Chrysler Town and Country, and the Dodge Caravan.
And they're all very popular.
Very
vans. Yeah.
popular because people buy them because they think bigger is safer, but it may not be safer because they're still putting them on car chassis. So the best ones are the Honda Odyssey, followed by the Toyota Sienna.
Sienna. Yeah.
I put Sierra.
That's okay.
Okay,
Now,
whatever.
the kind of crash you're talking about is where the left front of the vehicle hits
Or-
a solid object like
Well,
a building.
either front of the video of the.
Yeah, that's called a corner
but it's
crash,
usually
not a-
when somebody's hitting.
Yeah. Bonnie, the damage was frightening. They had to use a crowbar to pry
Yeah, it
one
was bad.
dummy's foot out of there.
Yeah.
That's right
Okay.
up your head. Yeah.
So here's another one. If you get snowed in, be sure to be at Walmart.
Yeah.
Because you got everything there. So a bunch of people got stranded at Walmart. They got TV, they got furniture,
They got
have
tablets,
they have everything
Wi-Fi,
they
They have
want to
food.
use.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
and
incredible.
warm
That's-
clothing in
So
case
if,
it gets
if
cold.
it starts really snowing and you're afraid you get
Go to
snowed in, go to Walmart.
Is it open 24/7?
Or Target.
Yeah. Well, if you're
Well,
there, they're not
if
going to
you're
put you
there,
out.
you're not going out. You just say, "I'm not leaving." What are they going to do? Okay.
You're right.
Okay. Snowbirth. During the big snowstorm, a man's wife was going into labor, and he had just rushed his young son over to a relative's so that he could take his wife to the hospital, but he didn't know how he was going to get her there in the snowstorm. And on the way back, he saw a group of firemen rescuing a woman in a car. And he said the woman overheard him telling the firemen that his wife was in labor, and she said, "I'm a delivery nurse."
Oh.
So here she was stranded. She went home with them. They're happy to have her. She's happy to be there, and she delivered the baby.
How cool is that?
Is that cool?
That is
Perfect.
terribly cool.
Wow. Okay. The next subject is a little more serious. Metro suicide.
Metro
yeah.
suicide.
At this time of year, with the holidays coming,
Yeah.
people get depressed. And so the number of people who attempt to commit suicide by stepping in front of a bus or a train goes up during the holidays. There have been about 100 suicides since 2002 that were successful. And the transit authorities have launched a suicide prevention program that gives people phone numbers to call, like the Suicide Prevention Helpline.
What happens if you call them and you get put on hold?
Jeff.
What?
Jeff.
It happens.
It's not like 911. Maybe they're
Ah,
better.
okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, you want to do this one, Tyler?
I don't think I'm on the right page. Where are we?
In the news, first page. Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay, kissing drone at TGIF. What is that?
What's
stand for?
TJF?
Yeah.
Thank God it's Friday.
Thank
it's a
God
restaurant.
it's Friday, right? But it's in the UK. This drone flies around carrying mistletoe. Okay, and so it's what could go wrong there? I mean, there's hair, there's
let me
whirly
get that right.
things.
There's hair, there's skull, there's eyeballs, there's
There's whirly
propellers.
things.
What could possibly go wrong?
Right.
God.
So, Jeff, you had a mistletoe gift idea.
Yes, I think we should get into the business and make mistletoe belt buckles.
They'd sell.
As a gag gift, they'd be hysterical.
Look at her face.
They'd be funny. It's a gag gift, Tyler.
Any man would love
Love
that gift.
yeah,
Why don't we
yeah.
do that for
Oh,
next
that's
year?
so funny.
That would
Yeah.
sell off the roof for men.
Then you make the country
love
western
that.
model.
Any party you go to, put the mistletoe on.
Yeah, well, the country western model is a big silver buckle. You push a button and it slides open, and the mistletoe kind of scrolls down a bit.
Oh,
It's really classy.
please,
Sounds like
Okay.
we've done some
please.
fundraising for this idea.
Okay,
yeah, you
Doc.
think we could put that on Kickstarter? Wait a minute.
Playboy.
Yeah, let's
Go to
do
Playboy.
that. All right, what's next, Doctor? I think your turn for the news.
Okay, so let's talk about something a little bit more serious.
Oh, I don't want to.
So, Graco, the maker of baby strollers, is now recalling 4.7 million baby strollers.
That's a lot of strollers.
Yeah, 11 models were sold over a 14-year span
Ooh.
from 2000 2014, and apparently some of the faulty hinges have even caused amputation, 6 amputations of the fingertips.
Of babies? Oh, that's horrible.
No, this is probably of the operators.
Oh.
Oh, well, maybe. Oh, that maybe the babies too. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Wow. Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, no, just stop that. Not funny. Go on, Doc.
We're having too much fun. Go ahead, Doc.
Doctor.
You're doing
Go.
fine.
Let's talk about smartphones. A lot of people are using them, and they do have some new problems, the spine problems. So people are using them more and more, maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. They're looking at their devices. And the same stress can occur when you're reading, writing,
Yeah, why are you
cooking.
looking down at that device,
Exactly.
Doc? You gotta hold
I
it
should
up.
hold it up here.
Then we can't see your lovely face, Doc.
So younger people are especially vulnerable because they're using it much more.
Mm-hmm.
But it leads to bent over posture, it leads to stress, early wear and tear, degeneration, and sometimes surgeries. So the
I know.
solution is, like you said,
I-
sit up straight.
My chiropractor, I go to a chiropractor every week, and he's been complaining, especially like carrying books in your backpack, you kind of like hunch over. So they say like kind of notice your posture, do Pilates, make sure your shoulders are like straight instead of slouching.
Right, because the front muscles get shrunk and the back muscles get stretched out.
Mhm, and then it causes
And
headaches.
you gotta correct that.
Well, there's another solution. Instead
Yes.
of carrying traditional books, you can carry electronic books.
That's true.
True, but
Much
What is
cheaper.
this? What are the other solutions for this, Doc?
All right, so you're not going to stop using your iPhone or iPad.
Not
So
hardly.
Let's sit up straight when you're using the phone, texting, or working on the computer, preferably not when you're driving, and then hold it up with your elbows up, looking at it eye level, so you can see it without bending your neck.
I don't see your elbows against your body.
Well, you know.
Take some practice.
Okay. The other thing, though, is that you can get the same stress from reading or writing or cooking or sewing or crafts and hobbies. So you have to watch yourself.
That's a lot of craft.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doc,
Craft.
did you hear?
Craft.
That's what I said.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you hear what happened to Bono?
I haven't. Tell me about it.
Well, you have the
no.
notes. It's yours.
Oh, okay. Well, he had a terrible bicycle crash in
Yeah, he
Central
did.
Park.
He did. It was bad.
He tried to avoid another rider, and unfortunately, he had an orbital fracture, 3 fractures in his shoulder, 6 compound fractures in his arm, and he had surgery and has multiple plate screws, and now the Bionic Man. But he just was about to go on tour for his new album.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
wow.
had 18 screws in his.
That's
in his-
terrible.
wherever, and 3 metal plates.
That's
Wow.
really tragic.
Wow.
Let's see if we can get the next one in before our guest calls.
Okay.
And if he calls, just bring him in and we'll just have him wait. One of the things people like to do is kissing. You know, there's was that Tyler?
Yes, it was.
Was that Tyler?
And Tyler,
Shameless.
how many? What can a single kiss give you
8 million bacteria.
in a 10-second kiss?
No,
10
Tyler,
80
look again.
million.
80
80
million
million.
You gotta
bacteria.
get a bigger.
So what you need, Tyler, when you kiss a boy, have a stopwatch. 9 seconds, pull out. That's it. We're done.
That's what she said.
A study was done of the kissing behavior of 21 couples, and those who kissed 9 times a day were more likely to share salivary bugs and probably more likely
Well-
to stay married, too.
Well, probably those probably are the ones that aren't married yet.
Maybe. Study suggests that the mouth has over 700 different types of bacteria, but the report reveals that some are exchanged more easily than others. So these 21 people did the kissing deed, and it was very interesting. Scientists actually took bacteria samples from the volunteers' tongues and saliva before and after a strictly timed 10-second kiss. Before the second kiss, one member of the couple drank a probiotic
Okay, so that has all kinds of stuff in it.
containing an easily identifiable mixture of bugs, so to speak. On the couple's second kiss, scientists were able to detect that the bacteria transferred to the other partner on average 80 million in a single 10-second. I think 9-second kisses are great.
Yeah, I like them longer.
Yeah, well, then you stop and go start again.
Yes, slow and low.
Yeah, that's it. Dutch scientists were working in collaboration, get this, with the Museum Micropia, the world's first museum of microbes. It's in Amsterdam, and they have a new exhibit. Couples are invited to share a kiss, and then they're provided with an instant analysis of the bugs they've exchanged. Can
Which
you?
is not that bad though. When you think about it, like if you're kissing the same person all the time. It's not like
At
you're
least you're-
exchanging bugs.
Well,
Like,
let's
probably
hope they're
building
not
up
exchanging
resistance.
bugs with anybody else.
true.
But here's the deal. So they go to the exhibit and they kiss and they get their readout and they say, "Ew, that's really gross. That's very gross." Okay, let's move on. Look for our guest. He's going to be calling.
He is calling.
Let's bring him in.
Perfect timing.
Tell me when it's there. Doctor Fedorov, welcome to the show.
Yes.
Hello
Good
there.
evening.
You're on the air with
Hello,
Jeff Levy,
doctor.
Bonnie Jane Bentley, and Dr. Ronald Belsick. Thank you for joining us.
I'm happy to join.
You are
Good evening.
the chief medical officer. You're an MD, of course, and you're the chief medical
Yes.
officer for a company called MiMedx, MiMedx. And we asked you to call us because we wanted to talk to you about a product called Epifix. Tell me where the concept came from.
Well, Epifix is naturally made from human amniotic membrane. The amniotic membranes, which really surround the baby during development, have been used medically going back a number of years. Literature actually starts in the early 1900s. And it was first used actually to repair eyes. It's the treatment of choice for repairing the conjunctiva and the front covering of the eye. And it was also used by dentists, periodontists. And it was decided by the company's founders that it might be useful in application to wounds.
And of course, okay, so that's where we heard of you. I've actually had it used on me by Dr. Belsick, but we'll get into that for in just a minute. How is this substance obtained? How do you get it?
Well, it really is amniotic membrane. It's the sac that surrounds babies at the point that they're born. It's not the baby itself, but it's really the sac that the baby is in. And at the time that a child is born, the placenta and amniotic membrane, called the afterbirth in general terms, normally used to be discarded. But that's where this material comes from. Women are approached through participating OBGYN docs to see if they'd like to donate their amniotic membrane for this medical use. And they're properly screened. They get a medical history. They have blood tests, much like you do when you donate blood. Those very same types of screens and questions are asked. The mother is tested to make sure that she doesn't have any infectious diseases and so on. And at the time of birth, which in this case are only scheduled C-sections because you want to have the procurement be sterile, the staff at our company is alerted, and they have someone who attends the birth and takes the afterbirth, if you will, during the C-section, and then moves to the company for processing. It's a voluntary process. Some mothers can elect to do that. In fact, 90% of the time that a mother is asked in a hospital where this can be done, they say yes. About 25 hospitals across the country participate in this program
one
at the moment.
birth, how much material is obtained that can work, and how does it work?
Well, the material itself at the start is the entire afterbirth. So you have a piece of membrane. It's a double-walled membrane. It's the amnion, the chorion. That's about as big as a balloon that surrounds a baby. So that's about how much is obtained each time. That material is in the process of being moved through to final product, washed, cleaned, processed in such a way that it's then able to be dehydrated and then cut into pieces, which are a variety of different sizes. It's one of the advantages that this product has over
And
other
that
competing
product
products,
is
and
then
there are a lot of
applied.
different sizes.
Is that product then applied directly to a wound?
Yes. Well, typically wounds need to be prepared a little bit. It depends on the type of wound. I think if we're talking, say, a diabetic ulcer on someone's foot or a venous leg ulcer, which are two very common applications, the wounds are debrided or cleared of any blood or crusty material, and then the material is placed directly on the open wound.
Very interesting. What about storing it? I know that some of these options you have to store in a deep freeze.
Yeah, there are a number of products that probably come under the category of skin substitutes that are attempts to create much of what actually happens with amniotic membrane. They'll lay down some type of connective tissue, or they'll use some sort of material that forms a base, and then they'll either float on cells that are healing cells, or they'll try and embed it with stem cells, and then because they're living cells, they have to be frozen. That's not the case here. Our product is able to be stored at room temperature for as long as 5 years.
Wow.
And still be valuable.
Amazing. Well, let's bring Dr.
It
Belzik
represents
in.
a-
Go ahead.
It represents a significant advantage over a lot of the existing products on the market, which are older technology and have been around for really a long time. This is something that represents really a significant advance, and that you don't need a deep freezer in your clinic. And
There
able
must
to
be a
in order to be able to
terrific
use it.
demand.
Must be a very. Let's get Dr.
Oh
Belzik
my gosh, in war
Doc,
times or wherever.
you've
Yeah.
used this.
Sure, we use placental allograft actually quite frequently.
This particular
And
product, Epigraph,
yeah,
Epifix.
we use Epifix, and what's very interesting is it's available on demand. So many times we'll have a wound that's deficient in what we call extracellular matrix or skin and the subcutaneous tissue. So oftentimes we're regenerating tissue. We're using options to help regenerate tissue. So this is actually one modality that's been very helpful in our clinic. The placenta forms a matrix, but there are other components. There's other growth factors that are in this tissue, and helps regenerate tissue.
Well, I know it works because you used it on me,
That's right.
and
Oh,
it
yeah,
closed
and
it
your
right
foot
up.
was a horror story.
It was not pretty.
It was not pretty.
And Walt Disney didn't hire me for that horror
Nope.
movie.
Can you explain how it
Yeah,
works?
the
again?
membrane has a very dramatic effect on healing. It reduces inflammation, reduces scar formation, often healing without leaving a scar behind at all,
Wow.
and improves healing overall. It contains all the natural ingredients that Mother Nature put in place to make sure that the sac that surrounds the baby is able to heal and grow rapidly over the 9-month course of gestation.
That's
The growth
incredible.
factors that the doctor just mentioned make these wounds heal very quickly. Often, and diabetic ulcer is a great example. In the past, these ulcers can take anywhere from weeks to even a year and a half or 2 years to heal. With this material, just by comparison, healing for a typical size ulcer can occur with only 2 applications a week apart, 2 or 3 applications, which is, to a clinician, a dramatic change, as I'm sure the doctor will attest.
Now, Tyler, you had a question. You wanted to know how it worked. What are the mechanics of it?
Well, I think he kind of
I
explained
think
it.
he kind of explained
He
it.
did.
Doc, you've had good success with it. Do you still use it?
I do. You know, the wounds that become chronic, it's because they're missing, tissue, growth factors. They're not able to heal in a timely fashion because they're missing something within the wound. So if they haven't healed within 4 weeks, it's very unlikely it's going to go on to heal. So we are resorting to other new technologies to help heal people.
Well,
One of the things that your listeners might find interesting would be the description of how this actually works as listed in detail on our website. It's www.mimetics.com. There are 6 scientific papers that go into what these different growth factors are and how they work. And we've published now about 12 clinical papers that describe how this material actually dramatically heals diabetic ulcers, venous leg ulcers, in randomized controlled trials, and in a trial which is comparing it with other products on the market.
would it work in a burn wound?
Yes. Actually, its natural amniotic membrane has been used on burns for a number of years, and there's a pretty substantial literature on that. It really is almost a universal tissue donor in many ways because of where it is in the body, it doesn't contain a lot of those immune system tags that make you identify it as being something foreign. Obviously, a mother doesn't want to reject her baby, So Mother Nature very thoughtfully
Brilliant.
left
It's
out
brilliant. It is
a
brilliant.
number of the antigens that mark it as foreign tissue. So you can use it in many places and in virtually everyone.
Well, you have a success story sitting here. We're delighted that you took the time to talk with us. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about EpiFix?
No, I think the main thing is the dramatic healing power is something to investigate for someone who has a chronic wound. This material, which contains two membranes, the original, and we're going back to the original, Dave, you have the amnion and the chorion. Because our company has patented the use of that particular double membrane, the location of all the growth factors, which is in the chorion section, are preserved best in the particular application that we've developed using human amniotic membrane. Unlike some other competing products which only use the amnion, or other products that try and develop pretty much the same thing using artificially developed constructs, which are less effective.
Well, Doc, thank you. Doc, do you have any
Thank you. It's
questions? Dr.
amazing.
Belzer?
No, that was excellent. Thank you.
Excellent.
Don.
Thank you very
Thank
much for your
you.
time.
Thank you
Give us
so
the website
much.
again, please.
It's www.mymedx.com. Your listeners can get more information, read the extensive scientific publications and clinical literature that we've presented, and get information on how to contact the company should their doctor want to use the material with them.
Outstanding.
Great.
Dr. Hoffler, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for having me.
I called you Dr. Hoffler. It's Federhoff.
Fedorov.
Federal.
Better
do
off.
that? Did
You're
you
better
do
off
that?
with Federoff. Thanks, Doc.
you,
We
Doc.
appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I wanted him to do the segment, Bonnie, because I've had that used on me, and it worked.
Oh, yeah.
And it's somebody is like Dr. Belzik who'll go that extra mile to figure out what treatment to apply so that the wound doesn't become chronic and kind of just ooze for a year or so.
Yeah,
Yeah?
because your wound was a wound, quite a wound.
You've said that many times.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
You showed me a picture.
It was gross.
It was bad. It was
Yeah.
big.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Doc, that's pretty cool
There's
stuff.
other things I like that are big and bad, but not that.
Well, now you're getting into our personal life, my personal life. Let's talk about tattoos.
Oh,
Let's talk about
am I doing that?
Would you like to?
I don't know. Is that yours or mine?
That's mine.
Do it.
45 million Americans have at least one tattoo. Tyler, how many do you have? Two. There you go. I've got one.
Yeah.
Bonnie?
I don't have any.
Doc?
Jeff,
Zero.
you have a tattoo?
Yes.
What?
Would you like to see it?
Yes.
No, it's on his arm. He'll show you
I'll
later.
show you later. Anyway, of the 45 million of us that have tattoos, at least one, 20%, that's 9 million people, want to get rid of it.
That's for the dumb
Oh.
people that get like tattoos that don't mean anything. Like they get the stamp tamp. Well, what is it called? I don't know what it's called. Or just if you're gonna get a tattoo, at least get it something
Or
that's
let's say you
meaningful.
get a gang tattoo.
Yeah, a gang tattoo.
You know
or tramp
what?
stamp. That's what it's called.
My daughter Vicky has a tattoo of her mother's signature that says "I love you," and it's on her right wrist.
See,
and
that's-
she's going to put me on her left wrist when I'm gone.
That's
Oh,
cute.
when
That's
you're gone,
something
let's hope
meaningful.
that doesn't happen for a while.
Well, no, I don't plan on it. Well, anyway, there's a company called Syneron, Syneron Medical Limited. You know what limited means? It means they're a limited liability company.
Right.
Yeah. In other words, if you sue them, you get nothing. Yeah. Anyway, they've gotten approval, Doc, from the FDA with their new PicoWay, PicoWay, picosecond laser. Now, what does that all mean? PicoWay, state-of-the-art dual wavelength laser, uses proprietary PicoWay technology to generate, are you ready?
Pico.
A picosecond pulse.
Huh.
How small is a picosecond? Do you know?
That's
Very small.
fast. Very
small.
fast.
A picosecond
Is
pulse to remove tattoos. Now, here's something I did not know. The FDA clearance is it to remove tattoos of any color.
That's a big
That's
one because
important.
you used to have to go in and get each color taken care
Yeah,
of separately, and it took a long time.
It incorporates picosecond. You want to know what that is,
Yeah,
Bonnie?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
1 trillionth of a second.
Wow.
So a
Ooh,
pico.
how did they get that?
Well, they generate an ultra short pulse, very high peak power of laser energy to apply to your skin. It creates a strong photomechanical impact that fractures the tattoo ink.
And then your body attacks it and gets rid of it.
Yeah. The technology provides a powerful new option because up to now that's been very painful, difficult, and expensive. Clinical trials show high rates of tattoo removal in that's a trade-off, very few treatments. You don't need a lot of treatment.
Good, because it may be expensive, but it's fast.
Minimal discomfort during treatment.
Because it's so fast.
Yep. Yep. Professional tattoos, multicolored tattoos are removed in very few treatment sessions, so you have greater patient convenience compared to long treatment regimens that are
So if you
expensive.
have your lover's name on your and you broke up, you can get rid of him.
That's not
Or
like that
her.
girl. She was drunk, and I guess she was in Vegas, and she got the rapper's name Drake tattooed across her forehead.
Oh,
She got the rapper's
my
name Drake tattooed across her forehead saying
Well,
Drake.
she got on
She must have been
she got
pretty
on
drunk.
whatever you get
Yeah,
on.
so she'll be going
Twitter,
to
whatever. I don't
Pico
know.
Way to
Yeah.
get that.
Very good.
Oh gosh.
What'd you think, Doc?
Sounds very
I'll
exciting.
bet because you work with legs and feet, you see a lot of tattoos.
I do actually. I mean, I'd probably see one a week.
One a week? Well, I talked to a friend of mine today who went to the eye doctor. And something happened to him, and it just plays right into a segment that you want to talk about.
Oh,
about
that's right.
tinnitus. So have at it.
No, tell me the story.
He went to get to his eye doctor, got his eyes dilated, and very shortly his tinnitus, which he suffers from, got really loud and crazy. It drove him just really to distraction.
Well, tinnitus is generally a ringing or sounds in the ears,
I get
right?
that
Or
anyway.
in your head. It's, and so whatever. It comes from the Latin word for ringing because most of it, the most common part is ringing in the ear. Okay, but it's your perception of sound. It's no external sound. And you might hear different types of sound like ringing or buzzing or whooshing or humming or a heartbeat. And it can be continuous or it can come and go. I know you've had tinnitus too,
Yes.
or tinnitus, whichever one you want
Tinnitus.
to say. Okay. Either pronunciation is correct. So it can seem like it's in both ears or 1 year. 1 year. 1 year.
1 year.
1 year. Yeah.
I
1
wish it
year.
was only for a year.
Or in the middle of the head. And sometimes you can't even pinpoint where it is.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
Yeah. So anyway, it's we don't know what causes it, but tinnitus it results from some kind of change, either mental or physical. Now, who gets it? It's common. Now, I'll go to my story in a minute after this. Okay. It's common. Tinnitus can occur at any age, even young children. 30% of people will experience it at some point of their lives, and it's up to 10%. It's persistent. It's not a disease, it's a symptom. It's generated within the person's own auditory pathways. And fortunately, tinnitus is rarely an indication of a serious disorder, but you want to see your GP or ENT and see if it's treatable.
Your general practitioner or your
can
eye, ear, nose, and throat
can
specialist.
refer you to an ENT if he thinks it should require further testing. Now, the mechanics of hearing goes as this is how tinnitus works. When you hear, sound travels into the ear, and the hearing nerves take the signals to the brain, and the brain puts it all together and makes sense of the sound. Now, the ears send too much information for the brain to process, so the brain filters out a lot of unnecessary stuff and background sound, such as clocks and ticking and traffic noise.
That's true.
But if there's a change in the system, like hearing loss or ear infection, and the amount of information being sent to the brain just changes, then the brain responds to this change in levels by trying to get more information from the ear. And the extra information you may get is a sound we call tinnitus.
Wow. Who knew?
Who knew? So it's actually the brain activity, not the ear itself.
It's not the ear.
Yeah, it's generally accepted that it isn't only a change in the ear, but that can result in tinnitus, but it could be due to our stress levels as well.
Which we have plenty
And
of.
we have tons of stress.
Yes.
So there's other types of tinnitus, and that's what I'm going to talk about real quick. I went to my doctor because I thought I was having atrial fibrillation. I would hear this bum 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 at night when I'd go to bed, and it would keep me up, and I was worried that something was wrong with my heart. But I'd take my pulse, and it seemed to be normal. And so anyway, she put me in a heart monitor for 30 days.
And nothing happened during
And
that.
nothing
You wore that
happened.
for nothing.
Yeah, I wore it for nothing. And so they thought I was a hypochondriac. Then I find this online, looking it up myself, that I have a thing called rhythmic tinnitus, which is actually a twitching in the inner ear that twitches like your eyelid twitches when you have really tired eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all, and so I had to tell my doctor what it was. Anyway, there's a thing there's lots of different types of tinnitus. Yeah, I know. She was surprised too. Okay, the musical tinnitus or musical hallucination, which is suffered by older people with hearing loss and a strong musical instrument. They may be replaying, it sounds to them like a familiar tune or song.
Wow.
And then there's pulsatile tinnitus, which is a rhythmical noise that has the same rate as the heart. And that
I've
can
had
be
that.
caused by atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries
Right.
and things like that.
I've been
You
treated
have
for
to
that.
you have to be careful because it can also when you're giving birth, an artery in the middle ear closes when you're giving birth, I guess to protect the brain from all that strain and everything.
No, so you don't hear the baby screaming on the way out.
Maybe okay, but you have increased blood flow or decreased blood flow, and it changes. It's some change within the arteries in the ear. Now, when you're exercising or have severe anemia or an overactive thyroid, you can have a lot more blood flow in the ear too.
What if you have
So,
a tumor?
If you have a tumor, it can happen because of abnormal blood vessels, but they're usually benign, which is nice to know.
Oh, yeah.
Also, that turbulent blood flow caused by the atherosclerosis it can make like a swishing sound in your ears. Oh, there's a lot of things that can cause it. So basically, they give you an ultrasound of your neck to check it out
Right.
first, and they may do an MRI or
Yeah.
some kind of non-invasive scan to see what's happening. But this unsynchronized rhythmical tinnitus, which I had, it really threw me. And so that was fine. And it can also happen from a contraction of the soft palate.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Where'd
who
that come
knew?
from?
And then there's another one called palatus eustachian tube syndrome,
Eustachian, yeah.
which varies from your breathing. And the ear seems blocked and your voice seems to echo inside your head. I've heard about people having that, hearing echoes in their head. And many people report that it happens after sudden weight loss. Hopefully your doctor knows what it is then. Okay, so there's a few things that can help. The most importantly is to relax. You want to relax because if you're anxious or stressed, you're going to hear the sound more.
Magnified.
Yeah. And if you have any hearing loss, most people are very surprised to find out they had hearing loss in the first place.
Yes.
Then use a hearing aid. That's going to help. And if you do have tinnitus, get personal contact, gain some knowledge, find a support group so someone can tell you, where to look for things, what to
That's
be.
really a good idea.
And also to know that chronic tinnitus does improve by the process called habituation. That it's like walking into a room with a fan or an air conditioner. You learn to ignore it after a while you hear it, but you don't really hear it. Okay, so that can help. But relaxation is the most important. Relaxation, meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, whatever it takes that for you. And address your sleeping problems because you may have some problems with tinnitus falling asleep. So there's a lot of different things, but the main thing also is exercise. That'll help you sleep better. So then you don't have problems. And diet, because drinks and foods can affect tinnitus. So what you want to do is if you realize if you're not having it all the time, when is it, and what have you been doing differently? What did I do? And then try alleviating it by taking out that food, and then try it again another time because it may have been a fluke.
A flute.
A fluke. You want to try again.
Or a flute.
And then also you can add some background sound while you're sleeping or when you're doing
Maybe
things.
it's something that you would want to bring in some white noise.
The white noise, like a sound machine
Or the
or
sound of
ticking
the
of a clock.
ocean.
Yes, well, that's a sound machine.
Sound of your
anything that
money
would-
growing in your
Yeah.
investment account.
Music, radio,
Amazing.
whatever.
That's a great
Yeah.
report, Bonnie.
But also get your mind occupied by doing something absorbing if you have tinnitus. Work, leisure activities, interests all provide a worthwhile focus, which takes you
Outstanding.
off of that.
Great report. Now, doctor, she used the word hypochondriac. Would you just define that for me?
It's somebody who can be worried about all kinds of things, just always
That they don't
constantly-
have.
Exactly, maybe over exaggerated in their minds.
So what would a hyperchondriac be?
I don't think they have one.
Oh,
There's
maybe.
always a hyper and hypo.
Yeah.
A hyper would be
thought.
somebody who's not worried at all about anything.
Yeah, yeah. You see, their arm
Totally
is
ignores
their arm
any
is rotting
symptoms.
off. And they say, I'm okay. That
Yeah, that's
smell,
my
I don't know what
dad.
that is.
That's my dad. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. We'll do the blood infection test,
Okay.
and then Doc's going to do a segment on Spud.
Spud.
Never thought you'd be talking about
Potatoes.
here, did you, Doc? The IC3D blood infection test, quick results. That seems to be a trend, Dr. Belzik, in medicine. Even in something as terrible as Ebola, getting answers quickly. That's really happening.
We need to know exactly what they have.
Yep.
How
And
are
need
you
to
going
know
to treat
quick.
them? Exactly.
All right, so there's a new bloodstream infection test created by, UC Irvine. We know them.
Yeah.
The researchers can speed up the diagnosis times with great accuracy. So Dr. Belzik can treat his patient with maybe a deadly ailment, get prompt and effective treatment. That's really critical. The test is called, you're going to love this, Integrated Comprehensive Droplet Digital Detection, or IC3D.
It's a good
Because there are
thing they
three words
3D'd
that
it.
start with the letter D.
Yep.
It can detect bacteria in the blood in 90 minutes. Now, normally you'd send out a culture, doctor,
We send out a culture.
and it
We get a
takes how long?
preliminary report and maybe the next day, but it takes 3 days to get the culture results.
So you go from 3 days to 90 minutes. That's pretty
That's
good.
great.
That's a good result. Bloodstream infections are a major, major cause of illness and death. Infections
Is that
associated.
sepsis? Would that be called sepsis? Or what
It
is
could
That's
be,
one of them.
Well,
It's one of them, but there's a lot of different types.
Well, and let's find out.
so yeah, definitely. So when the affects the bloodstream, it's a bacteremia, right? Sepsis is also when it can infect not only the blood system but also your heart.
Oh.
It can really put the hurt to you. Infections associated with antimicrobial resistant pathogens, in other words, bad things that can stand up to the drugs you give them,
Oh, yeah.
are a growing health problem in America and actually worldwide. And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 2 million people a year globally get they get that kind of a blood infection, and there are about 23,000 deaths.
And it's
like
resistant to
1%.
antibiotics. That's scary. Yeah.
The extreme high mortality rate for blood infections is due in part because you can't rapidly diagnose it. Dr. Belzik, you're saying 3 days. While that 3 days is happening, those little buggers are doing bad things.
So we kind of take a shotgun approach. We put them on different antibiotics to cover a broad spectrum of,
There you go.
of
See?
bacteria.
Ask the smart guy.
And then you hope.
Then you hope.
And then we wait, see what kind of response there is.
But that must be hard on the body to have so many different antibiotics in there at once, too.
We tailor it, based on their age or their function of their kidneys. Where did they come from?
Oh.
Were they from overseas? Or
There are some antibiotics, Bonnie, that are so powerful that they can really hurt you while they're trying to.
Well, that's
So
right, because
you
they
have
kill
them-
all the good guys as well as the
so
bad
in
guys.
those cases, you go in the hospital and you are monitored 24/7.
Well, I know.
I've
My
had that.
fiance who passed away had sepsis.
Yeah, I had that too.
Oh, scary.
So, Doc, you want to tell us about Spud?
yes, bud.
Spud,
No, be
y'all.
nice. Spud, what?
Spud.
This is not a dog, right? It's a spud. So
It's not a potato
it's
either.
not a potato. Spud sounds for sound pickup device.
Oh.
SP sound.
SPUD.
Sound pickup device. All right.
Okay.
So what is it?
Okay, so stethoscopes are what most clinicians use daily, but it's remained essentially the same for decades.
Hasn't
it's-
changed.
It hasn't changed much.
Different colors and such. But
different-
that's it.
Right, they're little teddy bears. They can be rigid. They're not exactly flexible at times, and they can be difficult to use in times of emergencies. So you can imagine when you have trouble accessing a patient's chest, you need to get in there quickly. So there's a company called Stethoscope Technologies. They developed this sound pickup device, or SPUD. That's basically a chest piece that can be connected to a pair of headphones. It's designed for paramedics who'll be able to slide it down the person's neck and onto the chest without removing any layers of
So
clothing.
they don't have to cut their clothing off.
Exactly, and can attach it to a headphone, much like unlike the traditional ones, and
How
you
interesting.
get a quicker diagnosis.
Yeah, because sometimes a patient is severely injured. Just the act of trying to remove the clothing on the upper part
Or
of
just
the
to
body
find
is
out even if
painful.
their heart is beating.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, why cut up a perfectly good shirt if the yeah? I get it.
If they're dead. No,
Nice.
that's awful.
You keep the bratwurst. I get it.
I know my mom used to tell me to always like kind of overboard, but match your underwear and your bra because you never know if you get into an accident and they have to cut up your shirt to like do
Oh,
CPR.
God, yeah, you got to have clean underwear.
Yeah, so now
God, did
you
I
don't
hear
have to
that
clean
from
underwear
my
Well,
anymore.
I'm telling the bratwurst story. I mean,
Yeah.
we were out at that
The game show.
a German restaurant.
We were at a game show expo, and then we wound up
Oh,
because
that,
the traffic
yeah.
was so bad.
Yeah, we
So,
ended up at
the Phoenix Club,
the Phoenix Club, and having bratwurst and beer,
a Bonnie beer.
Bonnie beer. Okay, because I mix them and I
No,
make
she
my
does,
own.
and they're really good, Doc.
Okay, so the thing is that we had this bratwurst that we got to take home to my dad because it was so good, and so it was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to call my dad. I hope he's okay. And I said, well, we'll call him and let him know. He said, well, what if he's not okay? I said, well, then I get the bratwurst. What am I going to say? I can't get to him.
That's pretty
we were a long
cool.
way away.
Why don't you talk about the Imagio, because we've only got about 3 more minutes. We've been having such fun today.
Okay, Imagio breast imaging system. It's better than ultrasound for early breast cancer detection. According to the American Cancer Society's estimates, 222,000, actually more than that, new cases of invasive breast cancer and an additional 64,000 cases of C2 breast cancer were diagnosed, and approximately
yeah.
in situ. Oh, well, I missed a word. Okay, approximately 39,000 women in the U.S. died from the disease during 2013. That's scary. Only lung cancer accounts for more deaths in women.
Wow.
So, Seno Medical Instruments, the company pioneering the development of optoacoustic technology as a new tool to improve the process of diagnosing breast cancer, announced that the use of the Imagio breast imaging system and the associated predictive model has a potential to significantly improve the physician's ability to accurately rule out breast cancer compared to regular
To the
traditional
normal scan,
ultrasound.
right.
Yeah. So, whoops, it's a problem when the computer skips by. Okay,
Ah.
It was designed to identify 2 functional hallmarks of potential malignancy: the presence of abnormal blood vessels, or angiogenesis, and the relative reduction in oxygen content of hemoglobin. The technology is non-invasive, does not require contrast agents and radioisotopes, which for some people are really bad, and which are required for other methods like magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, or positron emission topography, PET scan, and nor does it use ionizing radiation X-rays. So, hey, this sounds great.
So you mentioned in situ. Doc, what does that mean?
Just affecting the specific one specific location.
In situ.
It's localized.
Ah, good.
Well, Doc, we've run out of time. Bonnie, I don't know where it goes when we're having a
It
great
does,
time.
but we have a good time.
We do, and coming up next is our
Tech show.
Turn On to Tech.
Woo, woo, woo. And what do we have on there?
Oh, we have Microsoft hooking up with the NFL. Wait till you
betcha.
hear this. Dr. Belzik, talk about your clinic real quick. Where do we find you?
You can find me at the Amputation Prevention Center at Sherman Oaks Hospital. It's off of Van Nuys Boulevard in Sherman Oaks.
Phone number?
Phone number is 818-205-1995.
So there you have it. When you watch this show, you're going to learn things about medicine you're not going to find out anywhere else. You have a
That's
consumer
right.
point of view, a technologist's point of view, a doctor's point of view, and a very
a young
special
person's
a
point of
very special
view.
point. I must say, Tyler, you
Tyler.
look better than I've ever seen you look. Doesn't
Thank
she
you.
look great?
Yeah, I like her hair without all those braids.
Yeah, and the,
everything. She
the
looks
outfit and the
cute.
leather coat.
Oh,
Sty-
hot girl
Are you
there.
going out tonight, girl?
No.
Oh well, we'll change that. She wouldn't tell us if she wasn't.
Unfortunately,
Thanks
I'm
to
not.
Sam at LA Talk Radio for
Thank you,
providing
Sam.
the facility. Thank you, Sam. He's there behind the glass.
Yes.
We'll catch you next time. Take care. Thanks for joining us. You've been watching Up on Medicine.
Yep.
You're listening to Up on Medicine with Jeff Levy, Bonnie Jane Bentley, and Dr. Ronald Belsick, right here on LA Talk Radio.